Hello everyone and welcome back to Stampin' Squirrels. This is Debbie Squirrel 2. Merry Christmas to you all. So today I'm going to demonstrate how to make this great step card using the Snow Wonder bundle. Oh my lord, I love this snowman so much. He just reminds me of all the little snowmans that I used to get when I was younger, and that's some time ago. So we're going to be making this kind of vintage look. Have you noticed how a lot of my cards are vintagey? This vintage step card. And I'm going to be giving you the dimensions and how to cut the card in a minute, but turn it on its side so you can kind of see how it props up. So if you were to receive the card, it would come flat like this. There he is. And then what you would do is you'd pull him up, fold out the step, and then you'd tuck the front inside these Christmas trees that I've got at the bottom. And he would stand up like this. And then inside you can write your greeting to the person. So yeah, that's what we're going to make. Let's get started and I'll show you what you need in order to make this complete project. So I'm going to put him to one side and we'll take it from there. Right, so the card base is a piece of real red. And this card base measures 4 1/8 by 11 inches, and it's been scored at 2 3/4 inches and 5 1/2 inches. If I turn it this way, it's probably better. You need then to step it so it looks like this. Okay? If I turn it around the right way, that's what it will look like on its side. All right? So that's the piece of real red. Then you need a piece of crumb cake. This measures 3 1/4 by 8 1/4 inches, and you're going to score it at 4 1/8, and that will fold in half and make this little card, dear little thing. You need a piece of DSP, and in this case I've used the Plaid series 6x6, and this has been cut at 4 inches by 2 5/8 inches, and we're going to grunge that up a little bit in a minute. You need a piece of white for the inside of your card, and that measures 3 inches by 4 inches. And then you need a piece of white, and this measures 1 1/2 by 3 1/4, and this is for your greeting on the front. So in this case I've put Season's Greetings, and that's what this piece is for. And then you just need a piece of scrap crumb cake and scrap white, and this is to stamp your snowman, and these are to stamp your Christmas trees. So let's get started. Pop that to one side. So we've already got the score lines on our card here. So if you remember, this is scored at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2, and I'm just going to burnish those. You need these to be really tight. So I'm just going to turn that on its side. Give that a great big scrunch because it needs to be really sharp. All right. Pop that to one side. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to probably stamp my snowman, because this is my favourite bit. So here's my snowman, and I'm just going to stamp him in Memento. And there he's, a lovely image. Oh, he's just so lovely, just on his own, without anything. He's so vintagey. I'm going to take some blender pens and I'm just going to blend him in very quickly. So I'm using the real red for his scarf and his hat. And that's really all he needs. If you wanted to, and I did, you can give his nose a little bit of orange for his carrot. And that's it. So what we're going to do, I'm going to cut him out, and then I'm going to grunge him up a little bit. Alright, so I've cut him out now, and what I've forgotten to do, of course, is colour in his holly on his hat. So I'm just going to take a little bit of green, do those leaves like that, and the next stage is I want to vintage him up, so I'm going to do that with a stub sponge. So I use these latex makeup sponges. You can get them really cheap in cheap shops. I just find for me that they give a much softer finish, and I'm going to use a little bit of crumb cake to do that. Crumb cake is the colour of the day, so a bit of crumb cake, dub it in. And then I'm going to make small, whoops, circular motion all around the edge of my vintage snowman. So there's the snowman, he's all ready. So I'm going to pop him to one side. The next stage is, because there's quite a bit of bits and bobs that I want to grunge up, I'm going to bring back the DSP, and I'm just going to do exactly the same for the DSP. Okay, so I've done that bit as well, pop that to one side. And I think the next thing I'm probably going to do is stamp the card base. So we've got the card base, and if I take you back to the original, I've got these white stars, snowflakes I should say, and some grungy dots and things on the background of the card and on the background of this card as well. So what I've used for that is white, the Stampin' Up Whisper white. You can use any white. You could just use a pen. If you've got a gel pen, you could use a gel pen to do these and make those marks as well. It's entirely up to you how you do that. But I use the Whisper white for this, and I'm using the snowflakes out of the Snow Wonder bundle. Here they are. Like that. And here's a blast from the past, folks. Gorgeous grunge. Never been able to get rid of it. I absolutely adore it. It's brilliant for backgrounds. Thank you, Mags, for making me think or rethink buying this originally. It's years old now, but honestly, folks, just can't get rid of it. But it makes the greatest splodges. And then I'm going to take this bit, which is the front bit of the smaller card on the front, and I'm going to do exactly the same. Don't forget, this is where your snowman's going to go. So if I bring him back, try and imagine that and where you probably want your snowflakes. And so don't forget, just gently add the bits where you think that your snowman's going to go. You can just dot around it. Okay, I think that's probably enough. I'm going to pop that over to one side. Close that because it does leak a little bit. Pop that away as well. Smashing. So we've got those all nicely done now. So what I'm probably going to do now is I'm going to stick them down together. So now I have stamped up both this background of my red card base and the background of the crumb cake card base, and the next thing that we're going to do is probably stick this together and assemble it a little bit. So let's start with the red card base, the bigger one, and you're going to take your piece of perfectly plaid cardstock, DSP, and we're going to stick that on the front here like this. Okay, so really easy. I'm just going to use ordinary glue. That's great. So that's going to go like that. And the next thing I'm probably going to do is stamp the greetings. So on the original card, I've stamped Season's Greetings, and I've stamped Season's Greetings from last year's stamp set, the Still Scenes stamp set, and I'm going to take the Season's Greetings from this stamp set. I'm going to stamp it in real red. And what I really want to do is I want to grunge that up a bit. So I'm bringing this up because I want to show you, if you can see it. Can you see how this is all rough all around the edge of this particular card here? So I want to rough that up, and the way that you can rough it up without any kind of tools or anything is take a pair of scissors. Take a pair of scissors, hold it very tightly next to the edge, and just drag your scissors along, and you will see it makes a very rough edge. Smashing. Okay, so this part here is going to go onto this piece of your card. Okay, it doesn't need to go on dimensionals, it just needs to get stuck down. You could, if you wanted to, sponge that, and in fact, hey, what the hell, I think I'm going to. peel it off my fingers, and now we're going to stick it down right on the bottom, the very bottom of your card. Great, and I'm going to hold that back up and hopefully you can see how I've roughed the edges and so on. So that's on the little card, okay? Now you can take your snowman, and what I did was I kind of had him a little bit like this, some tucked in, some tucked out. He's going to go on here, remember. You can bring him over as well. Doesn't matter, I guess, if his head hangs off. Okay, next thing, I'm going to stamp some Christmas trees. So a bit of scrap again. And the Christmas trees, again, are from the Snow Wonder Bundle. And these are really, they're distinctive, really. And they're just great. If you stamp them in green, they look really effective. So we're going to stamp them in Mossy Meadow. Bring in my Mossy Meadow. So what I like about Mossy Meadow is, for me, it's almost a vintagey colour, and it just is the colour of Christmas trees to me. So I'm going to be using that one. I'm going to bring in my stamp. Now on this card that I'm making, I'm not going to do as many Christmas trees as I've done here. I'm only going to do 4. So there's 2 on the stamp. And then I'm going to go away and I'm going to cut these out and then come back. Okay, so what I've done is I've cut this one out with the die. So as part of the Snow Wonder Bundle, they do have the dies for the 2 Christmas trees. But I wanted to show you how easy it is to do with just fussy cutting and scissors, because if you don't have the dies, quite a lot of the things in this stamp set you can fussy cut out super easy. So I'm just going to demonstrate how quick that you can do that. And you don't have to have straight lines. The important thing is that the edge of the Christmas tree is kind of a bit bobbly. So make sure you just kind of go with that. Great. So I fussy cut that out, and as you can see, there's very little difference. So it's really quick and really easy to do. So I'm just going to cut 2 of those. All right, and then I'm going to assemble this part of the card. So we've stuck our greeting on. We need to stick our postman, snowman, on, and we need 1 set of the Christmas trees, and I'm going to pop them like this behind him. Now at this stage you can either keep those really sparkly white, and as you can see they look really white. No need to add anything else to those trees if you wanted to, but because I'm grunging this up, back comes the sponge. That's great. And the other thing that I think really works very well with these Christmas trees is a wink of Stella. So I'm just going to add a lovely bit of wink of Stella to the white. You wink of Stella around, and I just want to hold that up so you can perhaps see. Or not, as the case may be. It doesn't want to focus on that for some reason, probably because it's my hand. And action. No. Great, that was successful. So the next thing we're going to do is put that piece of the card together. So I'm going to stick down my Christmas trees first. I'm probably going to pop them there. I'm going to stick them flat with just glue, and then I'm going to put the postman. I've said it again, the postman, the snowman, blooper, the snowman on top with some dimensionals. So let's bring back our stamping seal. And then I've got my snowman, and I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of the snowman. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to stick him on, and he's 3D. So he will be like this. Great. And you know what? Because it's Christmas, I'm going to bring back my wink of Stella. So that's part of the card done. The next thing to concentrate on is the inside. So we're going to stick the piece of white card on the inside of the smaller crumb cake card. Before I do, I'm going to stamp the sentiment. So on this particular card, I've used the Snow Wonder bundle again, and it says, "Sending you blessings, peace and magic this Christmas season." So I'm going to just stamp that on. And then what I also want to do is I want to bring back the piece of crumb cake ink, and I'm just going to add a little bit of gorgeous grunge. I can't help myself. So I've done that, and hey, let's go for it. All right, so I'm going to stick that on the inside of the card. Wonderful. And then that just leaves us for this front bit here to pop on. So when it's closed, it will be like this. Now when you open the step, you need, let's stick in here, you need to be able to tuck that into something, hence the Christmas trees at the front. But what you don't want is you don't want your greeting to be lost. So you put these on with dimensionals, but you put the dimensionals towards the bottom, and then what happens is that this can tuck behind and stand on it, and it stops it from slipping down. So I want to make sure that my greeting, Season's Greetings, isn't cut off in any way. So I'm going to show you this one. And so you need to make sure that you position your dimensionals so that only the tip of the Christmas tree will take the very end of this, like here. So it depends where you're going to stick your Christmas tree. I'm probably going to put mine like that. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this down. And now what we're looking for is when it's closed, we need it to have something to lean on. So in comes my Christmas trees, like so. And you can pretty much see where the card's going to come to, like that. So I can put dimensionals on the back and make it quite high. I've kind of butted those dimensionals up to the base of that card, and there, it's leaning on that. So that's great. Last thing that you need to do really is decorate it. Now you can either choose it, you can put Wink of Stella all over it, make it glittery, add some glitter. I'm just going to finish it off with a few of these red diamantes. And the other thing that I did, and I don't know if you've noticed that, is that I've put the black diamantes in to replace his coals on his body here. Now you can choose to do that, or you can just take a black pen and you can just, I've taken the basic black here, fine end. I'm just going to make that a bit more pronounced, like that. Okay, and that's it. There you have it. The Snow Wonder step card. Take it behind. I love that snowman. He's just so cute. And it just goes into a standard envelope like this. So that just leaves me to wish you a very, very happy Christmas. On behalf of Stampin' Squirrels, thank you so much for following our videos. We really, really appreciate it. We've loved every minute of it, especially during this very difficult year where we haven't been able to see you and craft with you. So thank you for your company. We hope to see you again early January when we'll be posting our new videos for the next year, 2021. Who can believe it, hey? So very Merry Christmas, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.